Okay, so this is the video explaining talking about producing a characteristic tone out of my flute. There are some things that students must be aware of as a beginner flute. They must know that even though the embouchure is one of the most important part to consider when creating a sound, we need to know that the posture, such as sitting up straight or like having your shoulders relaxed or positioning your left or right thumb at the right place on the flute, will also help creating a clear tone out of the flute. So the breathing is also a most important part. Embouchure is too, but sometimes students tend to not really focus much on the posture. So as a teacher, it is necessary to keep repetitively telling students the importance of having the right posture. Because if you don't have the right posture, then you won't have you won't produce a great air, which means even though if you have a great embouchure, creating great tone out of an instrument is pretty much impossible. So that's something to be consider. So after the posture, we have the embouchure. So for flute, they need to, unlike other like woodwind instruments, because it's not blowing out of a reed, they need to make sure that the air that comes out through your mouth is the hole that you create using your mouth needs to be really small but precise air that flows through the instrument to the head joint, to the lip plate. I like how Dr. Nichols did it using the straw. Is actually really helpful for beginner flute students, because even though if you explain that having a two sound is really important, or try to do embouchure like this, like that, that's also like visualizing is also an important part when teaching flute. But they gotta make sure that maybe using straw is the closest to how big the airstream must be out of to blow through the flute. So that's necessary. What I do with my kids when teaching flute is we always start with the head joint, and this is kind of like a warm-up for my students, but I make sure that students are more like really comfortable with taking the instrument out, putting it back to their mouth, and being able to produce a really clean sound. So we cover the back side, our posture, and after we've done the straw exercise, as an example, the students might have some knowledge of, oh, so this is how I blow on the straw, so maybe I'll try this, and then they'll be able to think about the straw and connect the idea to the head joint. That's one of the important exercise, I think, when helping students to create a characteristic tone. If there are times where the sound's really airy, that's because students are not really aiming at the right place in the plate, they might be placing their lip somewhere like this, not in the middle. Because my student was actually really used to not putting it here, but like somewhere here. So when the airstream is going straight, but the hole is right here, which means half of this air stream is being lost. So that's something to be aware of as well when creating a characteristic tone. Lastly, there are also students who do not have a strong lip muscle. I mean, most of the students do not have a strong lip muscle when they start playing an instrument. I try to keep emphasizing that their mouth should look like they're blowing a whistle, because just directly from my eyes, I can see that their air hole is really spread out. So their mouth is not ooh, but more like oh, like larger hole, which also blocks because the airstream is not small and what should I say, strong and firm, and the airstream does not go straight, goes more kind of spread it out. That's what's blocking the airstream. So that is something to also tell the students when trying to teach them a characteristic tone. Yep.